Absolute Godspec. E60 M5 Space Gray LCI factory manual, Eisenman exhaust, clean as can be, low mileage. That's it. M5 home on a Monday night, which is not normal. That's because the differential for the 540 arrived today. The rebuilt one from Diffs Online, 281, totally stock, but new and clean and pretty. Arrived today, well packaged, unlike the one from Schmiedman for the X5. Problem is, they kind of failed to note in their online documentation that it does not include the rear cover. Not a huge deal. I can take the rear cover off of my original, but I just replaced that gasket 6 weeks ago. The genuine one doesn't exist anymore. They recommend some sort of paste that you turn into a gasket. I'm not really into that. So I bought a reproduction off German eBay. It took 3 weeks to arrive, and now I have the diff. It's like, good, we can finally put this in the car, but I don't have the gasket. So we went to AutoZone, bought some gasket paper, same exact materials, the reproduction, stenciled it out, cut it, used an old telescoping magnet that had broken, and one of those pipes in the telescope was the exact same size as the hole bore we needed for the bolts. So we sharpened up the tip of that, put it on some wood, smacked it to make the holes. That worked perfectly. So differentials in the car, sealed, but because we used a smear of gasket maker on both sides of that new paper gasket, it needs 24 hours to cure, ideally, and I can afford the time. So M5 tonight, well, that is pending. Then we ran into the second issue, and we're about to get really nerdy and technical here, and I thank you for your patience. But according to Real OEM, the bolts that attach the inner axles, inside of the axles, to the differential output flange, they're M10 by 1.5, and according to Real OEM, it's a 43 millimeter bolt. So I bought some of those. They're like $2.16 each from my wholesaler. So we put those in the car, and they're about 4 threads short of going through the whole axle flange on diff. So say there's like 10 threads in that, we're only getting halfway roughly through that. It worked. I ran those for the last 6 weeks in the 540. Not really noticing that they were too short, but it seems that when they redesigned that part in 2007 or superseded it, they failed to remember that there are, I can't come up with the name of it now for some reason, but there's a shim. There's shims on that in between the bolts and the axle itself. And that adds, 1.5 or 2 millimeters or something, but the bolt is clearly too short. You can look in from the inside and count the threads. So the genuine product doesn't work anymore. So I went to McMaster Car, and I'm looking for preferably E-Torx 10.9 grade M10 by 1.5 46 to 50 millimeter bolts. They don't really have anything ideal. I can find some stuff that would work, but I'm not happy with it. So we started shopping other cars. I checked the M5, they're M12 instead of M10 threads. Obviously more power, more torque, bigger bolts. I got lucky. Number 2, I went to the E53 X5, and the FA53 version of that, meaning USA spec M54B30 3-liter inline 6 version of those bolts, are M10 by 1.5 by 46 millimeters. So I have a set of those ready for our X5, pending the rapidly approaching service on that car. Pulled one of those out, and it's the exact same length that I need. We discarded the original ones from my car 6 weeks ago. New TIS says to replace them. It's only 60 newton meters of torque. They're not torque to yield. They're not stretch bolts. So really, unless they're damaged or rusty, there's no reason to replace them unless you're truly following the factory repair manual to the letter, which I try to do, but some of it doesn't make sense. Anyways, the E53 X5 bolt will work, and I had them in stock, so we put them in the car today. The negative with the X5 bolt is that instead of $2.16 a piece, they're over $16 a piece times 12. Now we're talking about $200 in bolts that allegedly have to be replaced anytime they're turned or removed, which seems excessive and silly to me. Nonetheless, car's back together, and if it weren't for the gasket maker that needs to cure, I would have it home tonight. In addition to the differential installation and removing and reinstalling the exhaust, today we went ahead and replaced the AC compressor, the belt tensioner, and the idler pulley for the AC belt. My goal tomorrow night is to be standing in here talking about how quiet and smooth and perfect the car is. Or it'll be on the side of the road dead. I don't know. I'll let you know tomorrow. Pasta for dinner tonight. A little bit of 70s show. I'm already exhausted. I woke up way too early. Just an office day, really, a million communications. That's all I have. Talk tomorrow on Tuesday.